As we get started with digital elevation models, or DEMs, which can be produced a number of different ways from topographic information, but the new way, the high resolution way, is LiDAR information, so light detection and ranging, right? So this information, right, was once incredibly challenging to locate. How did you get access to this information? You could go and you could try and download from the Geospatial Data Gateway, right? And sometimes you would get information, but it's a lot of data and you'd have to download it and figure out, am I looking at the right information? Did I download way too much? And the file sizes are not small, right? I've recently discovered this brand new website. It's called, the USGS National Map. It's fantastic. It is yet another GIS atlas that is available to you for going out and collecting free data, right? And so this is the website. You can see it here, but you can also get to it just by searching USGS National Map and it will pop up. The upside to this map is that we can zoom into anywhere. And I'm actually going to go ahead and zoom in on Mount Rushmore, right? And so Mount Rushmore in western South Dakota shows up as this green patch on the landscape, and we can keep kind of zooming in here. The reason for Mount Rushmore is that we currently, we have a capstone project working with the National Park Service on this site. And I'm going to kind of zoom in here, right? And you can kind of see the visitor center. And, if we could really get in here, you could see, Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln kind of hiding up here on top of the hill that have been carved in, right? So how do we get access to digital elevation information on this? Well, this is what's great about this website, and I'm super excited to find this for you because it is so much easier than the old way of doing things. One of the things that we can do is we can come in and we can actually just go ahead and draw a boundary, right? The website allows us to draw an extent of kind of what we're looking for in terms of where do we want data, right? And so once we've done that, we actually have to go down here, and you can actually browse this in this site as well. And so there's a couple different places you could look. You could look to elevation products, and certainly if you want something that is standard wherever you're at in the United States, you can go to these elevation products, and this has continuous coverage no matter what for everywhere except for Alaska. Alaska has a unique data collection you see down here, right? But you can go through and grab all of this. I'm actually going to encourage you to go to the next tab. It's called Elevation Source Data, right? And really what we're looking for here is that we want a DEM source. We're going to turn off the point cloud. The point cloud is the rest of the LiDAR, all of the points that came up into it. That is a whole other lesson, probably a whole other class to help kind of walk you through using some of that. But what we're looking for here is digital elevation model and the source. And by source, what we mean is that it will give you the highest resolution available based on what was originally flown and put into this data set. All you have to do once you've clicked on that is go ahead and hit search products. And so this allows you to go ahead and look and see where is it that you can zoom in on your site and zoom in. And what you're going to see here is one of the challenges of working with high resolution digital elevation models is the file size is very large, right? It's also the problem we run into with downloading. But what you can do is that once you've kind of zoomed in here, you can decide, because as you scroll down over them, you can decide which tiles you need to bring in. And fortunately, I put my box in about the right place. And so all I need to do is make sure that I get far enough over that I've got Mount Rushmore covered, which I do. So I want that file, or this tile. I don't want that one. And these two up here. I just want the 4 tiles. And that's what we're going to use and show you in the rest of this exercise. In order to actually download these, you're going to love it, right? Is that all you have to do is click on the download link. And what's going to happen is down here at the bottom, it's going to go ahead and kick it out. And it's going to save to your C drive's download folder, right? And so if I go ahead and open this up right now, you can see that it's sitting right here in my download folder, available and ready for my use, right? That's it. That's as hard as it is. High resolution data. In this case, we have 1 foot resolution digital elevation model data that we're going to be using throughout the rest of the exercise. All right, I'll go ahead and meet you over in ArcGIS Pro. Now the next thing is that we downloaded 4 distinct tiles, right? And that's just how they manage the data set because it is so large and you've got to bring it in. The challenge there is that gluing raster or stitching raster images back together again, can be challenging for your processor. It does take a lot of memory to make this happen. But let's go ahead and give it a try. All I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and go to add data. Now, you could have moved this out of your computer and moved it somewhere else, for storage. I tend to actually just leave these in my download folder, and the reason being is that it allows me to just basically go ahead and ignore the need for, I'm actually going to stitch them back together and then have a complete version, and then I can go back into my download folder and delete everything, right? And so any extra information, extraneous information, I can get rid of. Here we go. We've got 4 images, our 4 tiles of information. How do we get them to come back together again? Well, the process involves using one tool set, and that tool set you're going to find under analysis, and we're going to go ahead and open this up under tools. We're going to go to our toolboxes, go to find our tools, and we're going to call it it's mosaic to new raster. It's a data management tool, and so we could get to it going that way, but mosaic to new raster. And all we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we go down the list. First one on the list, second one on the list, third one on the list, and our last one on the list. I am going to go back through and double check that I did get unique 590, 600, 22, 600, 22, 590. All right, all of them that I want is there. Again, this can be tough on your processor. If your processor isn't working great, one of the things that you're going to run into on this is that you are going to run into issues with it, with this taking a long time to go ahead and stitch these all back together. You can do that to your C drive. If you're really struggling and it keeps failing on you, this is actually one of those things that works much better if you run it in ArcMap. So that is another option for you to deal with slow processing. But you can go ahead and set up your output location, and then the challenge there is that they want you to tell it what folder, right? So I can tell it that I want it in my geodatabase, and then I have to give it a name. And so Mount Rushmore DEM is one way that we can certainly label this. You don't necessarily need to give it a spatial reference, but if you feel so inclined, you can go ahead and just tell it to use the one that you currently have here. It's basically going to populate, because this was a new map when I inserted this data, it's going to go to whatever was assigned here in the background. The only other thing that you need to remember here is that the number of bands, based on everything I've downloaded from this website so far, it's all set up. It's 8-bit unassigned, and the number of bands is 1. You don't need to change anything. You just need to put a 1 there. I'm going to click run and let this kind of run itself out, but that's it. That's how we download and stitch together raster DEMs to be able to use them to understand topography on our sites.